Welcome to the Daily HiFi Podcast. We do this every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. What's up, everybody? I'm just look. This thing's not even on yet. With me as always, we've got Joe and Aaron. What's going on, fellas?
So
Cheers. Hey, is there such thing as a Super Bowl Monday? Because I think I got it. Like I was so slow to start today.
Really? You got the Super Bowl Mondays?
The Super Bowl Mondays. Sorry for the delay, everybody. I was still trying to fix this stuff over here.
You got a case of Mondays? Oh yeah.
In case of the Super Bowl Mondays.
Mondays.
Man, you get shot around here for saying something like that.
yeah.
Love that movie. I love that. Office Space.
Let me ask you: has anybody ever said to you, "Sounds like you got a case of the Mondays"? No.
No.
Hell no.
Hell no. You get shot.
I love that part.
I got
That was Butthead.
He's cheating on me.
Butthead would be. That is that guy.
I don't know. I get the feeling that she's cheating on me. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
Huh? Oh man. What's up, everyone? So I see some folks in the chat. You bring them up here. Larry Stugel says, so he said, see, he has a post Super Bowl coma too.
Oh.
What's up with that?
Actually,
You guys partying too hard during the halftime show? What's going on? What are you guys doing?
I don't know, but the girls, you see my story? All the girls, when Usher took his shirt off, they were talking about it too. They're like, I hope Usher takes his shirt off. I was like,
I don't know about it. I don't think he needs to do that, bro. He could have kept the tank top on. I don't know. They had to do the whole. There's a certain age, bro. Like, I don't know what age Usher is, but
yeah,
at a certain point, dude, it's over. I'm not. Hey, if I was Jack, I may have to try some of that too.
you definitely would.
Oh, dude, it's hot in here. I need to change into my next outfit. Oh, sorry. The camera was on me.
didn't see you guys there.
I saw a GIF or something on Twitter or Facebook or something where it was Ludacris when he was wearing like the shoulder pad looking outfit, and somebody compared it to the Ben Stiller from Dodgeball, from the where he had the pads and stuff on. They were like, same dude. It's like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it when he came out. He brought in some good people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is like you can't find an artist or a genre that's gonna appeal to every single person.
Yeah.
But I've seen some posts of people that obviously aren't fans of Usher or that type of music, and they're like just complaining about something or another about the thing. I mean, I like that music,
Yeah.
I know all those songs, but my question is always like, name one song from that person. If you can't, then you're probably not gonna like it.
Probably right.
So, I thought it was good, but maybe it's just nostalgia, and I just like hearing that song, the songs, and other people, Thunder Cabin.
I played that at weddings. Yeah. Little John came out. That was great.
Yeah, I liked it. Her, Alicia Keys. She came in kind of hot with the first note, though, huh?
Yeah, dude.
You heard that?
Oh yeah, I heard that. I was like, oof. Like she totally missed it. Like her voice cracked.
Yeah, but you know what? She's allowed.
Yeah, she's dying.
Yeah, she fixed it in like 2 seconds.
She's like, whoa.
So she should have done the whole Mariah Carey thing, like when she misses, she like just blame the IEMs.
Like, did I hear that right? I don't know.
Yeah,
I hear the thing that's getting feedback. That's why.
I think that's exactly right.
Yeah,
looking for a good rant, huh?
I'm in Kansas City. No one's working today. I would imagine not.
I'll be honest. I was going for 49ers. I don't watch football. I personally don't care that much. But man, I just remember the old school days of like Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. That's as far as I know. That's when I used to watch. After that, I didn't watch.
Joe Montana.
What else? What else is going on in the chat here? Anthony Perez, I see you.
Everyday Jay's talking about he's watching from Puerto Rico. It's 8 p.m.
Puerto Rico.
So he says it's not daily hi-fi, it's evening hi-fi. Evening hi-fi. Nice. Somebody wants to see the croissant nip slip again.
That's
the after show, ladies and gentlemen. Only in the after show.
Yeah, after show. If you want to do that, you got to join the Daily HiFi Crew, crew.dailyhifi.com.
I think that's going to turn people away.
No, I don't know.
I don't know, man. Who knows?
You never know. You never know.
Oh man, Gatorade. Got a lot of football movies, man. Playing that foosball, Bobby Boucher.
Mama don't know.
But what do you guys think of all this? All the hate about the Travis Kelce and what's her name? Britney Spears? No, it's the other one. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift.
Britney Spears.
What hate? What's the hate?
There's all these I see all these posts on Facebook and stuff, and it's like, there's like a drinking game. How many times they're gonna cut to Taylor Swift during the Super Bowl? And,
we're laughing every time they cut to her. Like, I don't know, but she always has that YouTube face, the YouTube thumbnail face. Yeah. Why is she always surprised?
They did on that last drive, she was biting her nails or something.
That's another good YouTube thumbnail face.
Yeah.
You got to perfect those, you know what I mean? Maybe I'll just do that. I'll just take her screenshots and then post them on thumbnails. Maybe they'll do better.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. No, there was all kinds of stuff everywhere. In TikTok, it was in TikTok there was this little thing that to get your husband all mad. They were say stuff like, "Hey, isn't it so cool that
that she made him famous?"
Yeah, like Taylor Swift put Travis Kelce on the map, and then the guy would just be like, "Well, they stop what they're doing," and they're like, "Whoa!" They get all mad. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought that was good. And then the other way around too, where guys would record their wives, and the guys would be like, "Ain't it cool how he's made her famous?"
Yeah.
Who's more famous though?
I mean, I would say Taylor Swift is way more famous, bro.
Who makes more money?
Oh, she probably does.
Oh, okay.
Her last tour.
I don't know these things. I don't know.
There was somebody clapping back in one of these comments saying that she makes more in those same stadiums than all the football players combined, which is probably true.
I
can't hate.
At a certain point, you got to just be like, I guess somebody's watching, somebody's paying. It's not me, but somebody's into it, and it's all good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Best part was the Ben Affleck, the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. Y'all seen that?
I saw the one.
You gotta watch it.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
And Jennifer
like that one?
Jennifer Lopez, Matt Damon. They got Tom Brady in there. Jack Harlow was in there. They're just Joe. You gotta watch it.
No, I watched it. I watched the whole thing from beginning to end. I watched all the commercials. I like the Arnold one.
Yeah, Arnold.
What is it? What do you say? What was it?
She's in labor.
Neighbor.
She's in labor.
Get the chopper.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Yeah, it was a good game. I enjoyed watching the game.
I was at somebody's house and they had all kinds of stuff going. They had 3 viewing areas, the main living room, and then their dining area. They had another big TV, and then in the garage they had another TV.
How's the system? Sound good?
It was a sound bar.
So I mean, was it acceptable? What do you think?
For what we were doing, watching Usher, the football game and the halftime show,
watching Taylor Swift.
It was not really the craziest thing, but it worked. It was the Meridian and LG collab for the Dolby Atmos sound bar.
I've reviewed those. I've reviewed some.
Yeah,
It's all good. But, hey, my system was bumping though.
I would
bumping
imagine.
it
I would
for
imagine
the halftime show.
Mr. Spatial Toolkit over there, Mr. Magic Beans.
Yeah. Oh man, HTTP1 and the system and Magic Beans. It was sounding crazy
Did you have the garage door open?
for a little bit because the girls were playing outside, and then you know, I invited the neighbor over. Like, hey, if you want to come check this out. So yeah, it sounded awesome. It was really cool. I watched Gran Turismo. You're recommending that, Chana?
Yeah, dude, that was a great show. That was a great
Honestly, I wasn't planning on watching it really, just because I didn't know any of these actors. I'm like, what is this? Is this like a YouTube
guys
Netflix
from,
thing? Like, what is this?
the one guy's from Stranger Things, the old guy. He's from Stranger Things. He's the cop.
Oh, okay. I thought he looked
yeah.
familiar.
Yeah.
But I was just using it because I had just finished calibrating the HTTP1. So I'm like, let me just, you get tired of watching the Amaze demo and the Leaf demo, and I listen to your stuff, Chana, your music, but at a certain point you got to test out other things, right? So I'm like, all right, let me throw on Netflix since I have the actual Atmos one. Thank you, Chana.
You're welcome.
So I'm like, all right, let me see what the Gran Turismo was the first one. I clicked on it, started watching. I'm like, ended up watching the whole thing. It was a good movie. I thought it was a good movie.
That was great.
Yeah, Orlando Bloom, dude, that guy got old. I guess we all get it.
He did. Legolas.
What the heck? What's going on? Yeah, so Marv here says Gran Turismo was good, but not on the same level as Ford versus Ferrari. I think I would agree with that. I think I liked it because my expectations were zero.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right? I had no expectations, and I ended up liking the movie. I'm like, this is a good movie. Then lots of different aspects to it that I enjoyed, but maybe that's also because I used to play Gran Turismo. First one on PS1. I played
PlayStation. Yeah,
I haven't played the new ones. Are they crazy now? Do they look super real?
they're pretty awesome. I went to the PlayStation Experience event, and they had that on they had multiple 100-inch Z90s around the area, and then people were getting in to these cockpits with the VR goggles, and then we could see the whole thing happening, and they're changing people's views. There was 1, 2, 3. There was six on each side, so 12 people racing at once. It was insane, dude. And you can see they're one car's passing another one, and they quickly switch to the internal person's cockpit view in their goggles. Oh, dude, it was so cool. I mean, obviously, you don't have to set up like that. You don't have to set up like that, but they're pretty awesome, man. I have it. I have PS5. I
want to try it. Maybe next time you come over, why don't you bring it over and let's mess around with that. We were messing around with Streets of Rage 4 when Chana came over. It's pretty fun, right? Yeah. What's interesting about that movie? No spoilers, but it was when they were showing them in the cars, the gamers not being used to the G forces in the cars or something. I'm like, a lot of the rigs, don't they have that where it kind of moves you back?
Yeah. I mean, are you talking about the wheel or the chair?
The chair. Doesn't the chair make you feel like you're accelerating and stuff like that, braking?
I mean, in those thousands of dollars kinds of cockpit.
Yeah, didn't Fred have one of those? I think he has a setup like that where it moves. No, maybe not.
He probably does, dude. He's probably got setups that'll move a whole lot of things for you.
Project Cars, yeah, I remember that. We used to play Project Cars in our shop. We just imagine in our retail shop, we just have it set up. When somebody come in, hey, come here, try this. Try this. Have them race. Yeah, Lord of the Rings was 23 years ago. Jeez. Where's time going?
Crap, dude. Yeah, that puts things in perspective.
Dynamic.
That long.
Dynamic weather. Realistic.
Yeah.
weather.
23 years. I'm glad I'm not getting older. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just staying the same.
You're a high school girl.
Staying the same in my mind, I guess.
There we go.
Watching the game in Oro 3D. Yeah, you know what? I was trying it out because it does come in 5.1, right?
Yeah.
Dolby 5.1. And
you watch it? How did you watch it? That was the other thing. I didn't know how they were putting it on in this house on 3 screens. If it was just on TV.
I just watched over antenna, I guess.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
YouTube was having it at 4K with HDR.
Oh, I'm screwing up. I have one of those HD home runs where it takes the antenna signal and then you can stream it to like anywhere in your house. That sort of thing. But yeah, I probably should have watched it 4K. And do they have a better experience than 5.1? How does that even work? What is audiences surround? Like, how does that even work?
They have multiple microphones somewhere around, but they will like, are they mixing it live? I don't know. Yeah. Just sending signals. Who knows?
Okay. Yeah, I'm going backwards like Benjamin Button.
Yes. Oddly enough, the hair is still getting grayer. I don't know.
It's part of the plan. I'm dyeing it.
You use that soap.
Yeah. Shauna told me about this soap that's supposed to like darken your thing. I don't believe, but it's supposed to not dye it. Do you believe that, Aaron? Do you think that that's possible? Like, supposedly it reminds your brain how to like
grow.
Man, that sounds like some bull.
It's like start repigmenting your hair.
Shauna, you tripping?
That sounds like something that like somebody who's like not in the measurements would say.
Yeah, dude. You should make a YouTube short about it.
Yeah, well, it's funny though, because like the bar of soap is black, right? I'm like, if you wanted to prove it, then make it clear. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, how do I know that?
But not all everybody has
dripping on my shirt.
What if you have brown hair? What if you have blonde hair?
Yeah, they probably have different colors, but it doesn't dye your. Anyway, should we talk a little bit more about some audio? I know, Aaron, you did a tour of a hi-fi store. Is that it?
Store. I did. It was cool, man. It's a really neat place. Locally to me too. And like I've known they've been around for a while, but most of the places around here, it's not like well, I mean, it is. I don't know how to explain this. Huntsville, Alabama is one of the fastest growing cities. It's voted like one of the best places to live in the United States, but it's not like a New York or a Nashville or an Atlanta where it's a huge city with a ton of high end business execs. I guess there are when you really think about it, but anyway, I didn't expect there to be any good stereo shops around here. The best we've had is Best Buy, but we've got this one that's been here for a while now, and I finally went and checked it out, and it's pretty awesome. It's called AVIQ. So if anybody is in the North Alabama area, look them up. They're in Huntsville, and they carry Focal, Kef, monitor audio, NAD, Magnapan. That's just a bunch of stuff. Klipsch. They carry a brand called Davone, Davone, that are pretty dope looking speakers, man.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
No Bose?
No Bose. No Bose. I'm going to bring up their website real fast. And share the screen.
Did you get to check out? Whoa. Hey, that looks good. That matches my chair, I think.
Dude, those look. That's their reference.
Yeah. Look at that guy. Davone.
Yeah, man.
Let's put it on solo.
Look
at us.
Look at that.
Okay, so all I need to do is find a home with egg.
Oh, it's got those. Is it that? What is that? That like the per listen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's TechStream.
Oh shoot! Look at that.
Yeah, man. They come in different colors.
That's a good looking speaker to me.
It's a gorgeous looking speaker.
They got these, like what is it? Is it Focal? Not Focal. Who's the one that you guys checked out? Shauna, the guy you interviewed. Sonus Faber.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Right, how they have that cool shape. but supposed to look like a boat. This looks more like, look, I like mid-century modern stuff.
Yeah.
Twist.
That's
Twist.
dude,
Ooh.
well, I like the look for sure. That is a
But I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look at the the lifestyle photos are just not realistic. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that, right there. Like who? Look at that chair in the background.
Are those
Where
wireless?
are we? Where are we?
I guess they are, man.
They're wireless, bro.
Those ones are.
Well, it
Oh,
doesn't
you
look
can
like,
do wireless.
I prefer wireless.
Yeah, you can.
It doesn't look like a only cool design. You know what I mean? A lot of times, like they just look cool, and then you're like, I don't know if that'll work.
Garbage.
that weird thing.
That Hi-Fi Plus winner. What is it? Meander.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is that supposed to be? A Bluetooth speaker kind of thing?
Yes, so. Let's see. Stream from the apps you love.
Yeah, it looks like.
Look at that.
Oh,
Interesting.
Will that work, Aaron?
Oh, look, they give you they say omnidirectional, but it's
Measurements?
Yeah, that's wild.
What the heck?
What? I know it. I don't know. I'm like, what else do y'all have? All right,
I
let's
think
see
you
what
should
else.
have like a heart rate monitor to tell you how you feel.
Studio monitor.
You know what I mean?
I
studio.
don't think so.
Studio monitor? I don't know.
Dude,
Anyway,
I'm telling you, man. You need to go back.
here, look at my chair real quick.
what the heck is this?
Can you see my chair?
Yeah.
Look,
Oh,
it'll match.
that-
It'll match
match
the look of
my
my
chair.
chair.
It's a little dark, but yeah, the
What?
woman on master chair.
Dude, these are cool looking speakers.
Look at that.
Anyway, I've emailed them twice now. Haven't gotten a reply yet, but maybe
Reference ones.
Wow.
those things look awesome. I mean, they just look awesome.
But you know, the thing is that it looks like it'll work too, though. Like
Yeah,
there's
for
a
sure. Like
rounded
three-way
baffle.
speaker.
Nothing about it looks like, oh, that's not gonna work. Like the
Right.
spacing here, I'm sure that you're looking at all those things where, like, oh, those drivers look legit. The bracing, like,
Yeah. It better
that's
work.
a lot of bracing.
I know it.
I wonder how much this weighs. Like, what are you thinking? 200? How big?
Let me go back and look. Wait, 42 kilograms. So let's just. That's 92 pounds.
100 pounds. Okay. Recommended amplifier 100 watt. Sensitivity 87. That's not that great. Impedance 4 ohm. Okay.
Look
Text.
at that. Give you.
29 to 30,000
If that's
minus 3
real, then I mean they actually look like they're giving you reasonable specs. None of these seem crazy.
That's what I was gonna say too, because like, you know, I'm sure they could have used some, who knows what point, and they say it goes down to 20 hertz,
Yeah.
sensitivity 98,
Right.
but like 87 is not an impressive sensitivity. It's probably the right number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
97
10-inch
centimeters.
driver, 3-inch diameter, throw long
Aurelio,
2.5
dude,
tonal.
38 inches tall.
speakers that I like the look of.
Yeah, I know it. When I saw them, I was like, what? Those are awesome.
You know, usually like I'm not into fancy looking speakers because they just look out of place in my environment. But like
Century.
these look good to
Shilling
me.
test gear to
Shill, yeah, I got a shill for some test gear. Ooh,
I'm trying.
What's the price on those? Maybe it's something that you know, I could put an affiliate link and actually make some money. Yeah, huh?
Probably
Right, 'cause
not.
it has to be high priced to make that affiliate money.
Yeah.
I can't be slanging this monolith stuff because
Giorgio Q.
there's zero margin.
What's up, Daniel? How are you, buddy?
What is the price on those? I'm trying to
I
shill
really
for
don't
that
know,
affiliate
man.
money, baby.
I really don't know.
That's funny.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. Dude, those look great. I'm surprised. Did
All
you get to hear any of the other systems too?
Yeah, I was going to walk through some of this. just
Okay,
not
yeah.
spend too much time, but
Don't worry, I got some questions starred, so we got plenty of stuff. started.
Yeah. So instead of like home theater tours, you do
yeah,
hi-fi.
hi-fi speaker tool.
Hi-fi shop tours.
I wonder if I can find.
You should charge, man. You should charge.
Oh, I definitely will.
Right? You got to charge. Like, hey, I got my iPhone out. Do you know who I am?
Yeah,
Do you know who I am?
Yeah. Don't you know who I think I am? All right, so this is when you get into the front of the store. This is that one speaker that we just saw, and let's see.
Oh, wow.
Can I go?
Looks a little different in the photos, though.
Because you need that background, dude. This is a basic
I
background.
gotta say, it's like one of those things. Like, are those renders? Because the real thing looks a little different.
Yeah, let me see.
Looks a little more IKEA. To the other one, looks a little more. I don't know.
All right,
Design within reach.
that's the back of them.
Okay, all right, all right. I'm just joking.
VTI
That's how it's spelled.
Devone.
There's a Magnapan setup. I didn't get to hear any of those. You know how it is. This is the dude's office. He's got these speakers there. He's got these Dayton exciters down here. He just plays around with them. Old school
That's
Apple
cool,
TV.
man.
Check that thing up.
Oh, it's huge.
And then Don Audio speakers, close up, Kef Blade 1 metas. I got to listen to those. They sounded awesome. Budget oriented stuff. More
They don't
Kef.
get their own room.
Budget oriented stuff. Can I see what the brands are there?
These are like the Kef
Focal.
150
Name.
350.
Oh,
I don't know what focals those are, but I'm assuming probably an area or something.
oh, okay, all right. I just saw the signs up above. I'm like, those don't look like budget oriented brands. I guess NAD, but
let's see.
I guess.
Yep. Their movie room had Theory audio speakers in there, and they were running Dirac Art in there, and it sounded pretty cool, man. They had no treatment at all, no treatment on the walls, nothing.
Let's hear your listening
in the back. What?
What are your listening impressions?
I mean, I only heard like 45 seconds of that DVD song, so it's hard to say. But there was no lingering bass that I heard. It sounded good from where I was sitting, and I wasn't even in the prime spot. It was pretty cool. More Kef.
Was it okay with your brain? Because I've said before that it totally works, but my brain is like, why does it sound like this in here? Like,
Yeah.
no, none of
I
that.
thought it sounded good. But again, I wasn't critically listening, you know. More Kef stuff. I listened to these. They sounded pretty dang good.
Super 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Prima Luna gear. I don't even know how much that stuff is, but I'm assuming it's not cheap. Close up. This is they had in the back. The dude, there's a guy in town who apparently repairs like old amplifiers and electronics. And he just got done working on this. And I was like, man, I really want that. I thought about asking them how much they wanted for it, but then I decided not to because I don't need to know. Let's see. These are old Macintosh speakers.
What?
Yeah. So Macintosh just came out with a new, like an updated version of these. And I can't remember what they call them, but these are the originals. I don't know when they came out, but I'm guessing maybe the 70s or something. But these things look like they were in really good shape.
Yeah, there we go. Full screen that.
Full screen that. All right. Monitor audio. And this is like just kind of giving you an idea of their different setups. The front one up here was a 4K projector. And then not a 4K. And then this was like the more budget. So I think it went budget, mid-budget, more expensive budget. This is their. So the thing about listening to these is that there's no reflections. So you basically only hear the direct sound. Where they are over here.
In the room.
And then we've got more focal. What are these?
Those are the the Ultima.
Yes, that's it.
Focal Ultima? No. What are they called?
I think that's it, isn't it?
God damn it.
Maybe not. But they're big speakers.
The Evo.
Okay.
Evo Focal's most expensive speaker.
They have these. Those look pretty cool.
It's the Utopia.
Utopia. All right. That's what I was thinking. I wasn't sure. I keep wanting to say
Ultima.
The other ones that I heard were the Utopias, but those were Sopras. Okay.
Yeah, the other ones are Sopras. These are Utopias where each speaker kind of has its own cabinet, as you can see on the side there with the little tweeter.
Yeah, you can see them kind of how they're angled.
Exactly. Yeah. And then
Focal. Kef reference.
Kef reference.
Yeah.
Kefrance. Should we just call them Kefrance?
Kefrance. I think we're getting toward the end. But the dudes are super cool. This is another one of their rooms. So they have them like more like regular rooms, and they'll have other rooms with treatment in them and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it for those.
Very cool. So what do you rate this store?
Oh, the store was awesome, but the owners and the people, like there was two guys. The owner was there, and then I guess the guy who works there. and they were both older gentlemen. They were super cool, man. Like super cool. They had all these stories to tell. We were probably there for an hour and a half just talking to them. So it was cool. Had a good time. I hope to go back and listen to those Magnapans, and then
You went with your friend?
yeah, I did.
And you say he's just a friend.
Woo.
Oh baby, you.
baby, you got what I need.
So I guess the biggest question was, Aaron, when you were there, did you measure with your ears?
Man, are we instigators or what?
Well, they were looking at me super weird, like, because I laid on the ground, and then, you know, my girlfriend, I was like, all right, take my ear and like hold my ear position on this speaker right here from the ground. And then I moved my head up a little bit more, and she held the ear position. We figured out it was about 32 ear inches tall for that Kef Blade 1 Meta.
He measures with his ears.
Yeah, I measure with my ears.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So you know what you need some kind of a pedometer to track how many times your toe taps. You know, when you're listening, that's what you need.
Yep. Then I know if I like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I have like
Check your
greatest.
heart rate. You know what I mean? See if you're you listen with your heart.
Yeah. I listen to my heart when
Nice.
it's calling to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude.
Listen to your heart.
Man.
Your heart. You know?
We're just
It's
joking.
calling for you. Listen to your heart.
You know,
That's
it's,
the one.
you know, we're joking because
heart,
there's
right?
somebody who said this, and you know, the truth is, when you have a system that is, you know, sounding good because it measures well and you have it tuned properly, you're gonna enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna, and then if you listen to music you like, you're gonna enjoy it. I mean, I think what we're trying to do, what Aaron is trying to do, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, is just try to make it easier for you to find a system. Like if you had to guess, right? If you were to just guess, well, there's lots of speakers out there. But if you provide data, then your guess is going to be much better, right?
Yes.
You can start looking at things and narrow it down and base it on something versus, you know, your other option is base it off what a reviewer says, right? That's your other option. Just base it off. And you know, they're decent options, right? If you trust what the person has to say and they're consistent, that's the thing. Consistency is the thing that I think might be hard, because you may find if somebody's purely subjective, they may say a comment, then later on you watch another video and like, didn't you just say the opposite thing in the previous one? How does that work? Like, you know, so it's tough. You know what I mean?
Confusing.
And I'm not calling out, you know, subjective reviews, because I find that I've done that too, because I've changed my opinion sometimes, right? My taste may change, or the room I'm listening to in may be different. And so what I say in a previous video is gonna seem like I'm jumping around. What is it?
Contradictory.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, where it's actually like I'm telling you the exact thing, but my room is different.
Yeah.
How do I explain that to somebody? Well, a measurement would be a good way to show that, right?
That's a good start. Yeah. I think like if you're always assuming that the speakers are probably going to the same place in your room, then you can say, all right, this speaker is probably better suited for that location. You know, if you're like most people, you don't have a lot of room to move speakers around. You're kind of, all right, I can put them here. And then that's it. So what are you going to do? What are you going to buy?
Yeah, well, for sure, what you're doing with measurements is it's getting adopted more and more, right? You hear more and more people talking more about measurements. It's not going to be right away.
Yeah,
it's not going to just all of a sudden be like, oh, the Klippel near field scanner, that's all I need, right? It's going to be slow. You're going to have some pushback, and it's just a matter of you continuing to show it and people learning. People have to learn about why that's useful. It's not contradictory to what somebody says, unless it is contradictory, in which case, you know,
then there's that too.
You have to point to where the issue is, right? So if the Klippel says, oh yeah, the bass is really good down to, 30 hertz, and somebody says, oh, I reviewed these and they don't have very much bass. okay, well, is it the speaker? Or is it my room?
Right.
I think it's probably my room.
Right. Yeah.
Out.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, he's measuring.
What was he measuring for?
Hey, you guys, I got the measuring tape out, but I can't hear you.
Frustrating me.
Oh
Yeah, it's easy to make that mistake. I always like to look inwards and criticize myself first before I go and criticize somebody else. But even in reviewing these Arendal 1723 speakers, right? The towers. Chana and I, like both of us, like, dude, there's not a lot of bass, right?
Yeah.
And same with the center channel when we listen to that.
Right.
But I moved that thing near a back wall in a totally different location. So moving it near a wall, right? And I'm like, damn, measurably, this has a good amount of bass. The center channel, right? The monitor, like that has a good amount of bass. And it was measuring down like, into the 20s, right? When it was near a wall. But when it wasn't near a wall, we're like, dude, where's the bass?
Yeah.
Just that.
Dude,
Just
where's
that.
my bass?
So, dude, where's the bass? Where's my bass?
Where's my bass?
So, I don't know if that's an error on my part, right? Because we moved it to various locations, and a lot of them were more centered in the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, this bass is not that crazy. Or I think one big mistake is if somebody is used to placing their speakers in a certain location, and they're like, they think it's scientific. I just replace the speaker. I put it in the same exact location as the other one. So I know what my room does. Where's the port? Is it ported? Is it is it going to be different if I have a different driver configuration?
Right.
I put it in the same exact location. Is that a good test?
Well,
What do you say, Aaron, to that?
I mean, it still depends because it can react differently. Like if it's got a front port or a rear port, where the port is relative to the ground, those things can matter, right?
So yeah. I mean, it would change the bass a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe where there's a little bit of a disconnect, because I think maybe I mean, I used to think, hey, if I put the speaker in the same place, that's scientific, right?
Yeah.
I'm not moving the location, but I didn't know enough about speakers to know like where are the speakers, and the fact is that it's going to be different depending on where that other person's speakers were that they're replacing. So anyway, Arendal 1723 monitor or THX speakers need to play to 80 hertz. Rest is optional. Yeah, no, I still agree with that. I still think that I was expecting more bass from the floor standing speakers. I'm just saying, we were kind of saying like, there's no bass, but some mistakes, right? So we were testing out the track, Chana, that you like stop time one, right?
Yeah.
And you said, hey, this had a ton of bass in your car, right? But I'm like, I don't know what the tuning is in your car, right? Maybe your car has a crazy amount of added bass. So we ended up listening to that same track
on your headphones
on my system after it's been tuned, and it still didn't have a ton of bass. And then I listened on the AKG K371s that are pretty accurate, and I had one on and the other one listening to the same song on my theater system, just to gauge tonality. And I'm like, the bass is not that hot on this song, right? Doesn't get crazy. So it's like, no, this just this track. So there's lots of room for error. Yeah. So there's some room for Aaron.
I was about to say that.
I mean, thanks. I think. Is there room for my earlobe though? Because I got to measure it.
You got to measure that earlobe.
Hey man, you're doing good stuff, man. I'm proud of you for continuing that, because it's tough to see the comments sometimes. Like they don't understand. And now you have to teach them, but they're insulting you. And so it's like, I'm trying to teach you, but you're insulting me, and you're making it seem like the stuff I'm doing is not useful. So it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
Kind of tough.
I've been sending Aaron some t-shirt ideas. I got some fire.
Oh yeah, that's right.
When is Expo? April? Right? Still got another month to make these shirts.
Yeah.
I might bring like 3 different ones for each day. Just
Dude, you're gonna get jumped. People are gonna be like, man, you don't even know.
Change up.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you around to be able to check us too, right? That's kind of one of the reasons I want you on here is like, if we're saying something stupid, please do correct us, right? I don't want to be stupid.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be stupid.
Yeah, please correct me when I'm wrong. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into some questions.
No questions.
2 sub outs on my Denon. Is it better to run 4 subs off 1 than to daisy chain them? Use both outs and do 2 each. So I guess he was trying to split the signal, I guess, from the receiver itself on the first one. Is it better to run all subs off of 1 output or go sub 1 to subwoofer 1 and then daisy chain from subwoofer 1 to 2 and then take the second subwoofer output and then go to sub 3 and then daisy chain to sub 4?
I got an answer for him.
Do it.
All right. I think that if your Denon has the ability to use something like Dirac Live bass control, where it can fully EQ each sub independently, then you probably want to use each connection. It probably doesn't, because I think those typically have 4 sub outs, right? When they have Dirac Live bass control, they have the 4 sub outs. So in that case, it doesn't matter whether you run, you use a splitter, you daisy chain them, you're just using 1 LFE channel out, in which case my recommendation would be to use something like the Mini DSP 2x4 HD, have the LFE channel go out to that, and now that has 4 outputs, but then you can EQ each subwoofer independently, time align them, use something like multi-sub optimizer, which is free, but it requires a lot of it requires you to know what you're doing.
A lot of work.
You can really tune all the subs for either one listening position or multiple listening positions. So that would be my recommendation if you're willing to do that. But otherwise, if you're using a Denon where it's just splitting off those 2 and giving you minimal control over them, I think the 6700H that I have has 2 sub outs. Where is he? Oh, he says, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So, yeah, in that case, what you kind of want to do is just make sure that the subs aren't fighting each other. And, there are some simple ways to do that where, you can just play some pink noise and then adjust the phase on the back of one of the subs and make sure that it's not competing with the other one. Make sure that it's as loud as possible at your main listening position. That's one way, a very simplistic way. There's more advanced ways to do it. And, make sure that the levels are the same, kind of basic stuff. If you want to get into REW, then you can actually start measuring those things and making sure that the phase alignment is correct. They have a feature in REW that allows you to do that pretty accurately. But yeah. Reverend Slim says, if each pair of subs is at similar distance, 2 sub outs. Otherwise, Mini DSP.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, just because the Denon, what it allows you to do is pretty limited. I think it allows you to set levels on each one, but it doesn't do EQ on each one. I don't even know if that it does separate delays.
It doesn't.
Each one.
You can't.
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Next question. Will corner placing dual subs? They are dueling. On guard. Dual subs still sound boomy, even if you're using rim calibration. In my Marantz, for example, or would it benefit from lower extension and better overall response? Boomy. So basically, what to call it is he's adding some room gain or barrier gain. So we're
boundary gain. If you're using better benefit from lower extension, better. I don't know why does it sound boomy? I think that's one question. Sometimes people may associate deep bass extension with boominess, right? Sometimes I've seen that happen. I think a lot of times it's just a matter of it not being properly time and phase aligned to your main speakers. So when the bass hits on your main speaker, your sub needs to hit at the same time. They need to sound the same, and they have to be in phase to each other. If they don't, then you're gonna hear it, right? You may not notice it because it's like we're talking about milliseconds of difference. But if it's slightly off, it's gonna sound smeared. It's not gonna sound like one hit. So it has a lot to do with calibration, right? And proper calibration will take out any extra bass that's maybe too much bass.
So he says everyone always says corner loading causes boomy bass, et cetera, et cetera.
I have mine in the corners. I have my subs in the corners. That's actually Todd Welty from Harman. He did research where they're trying to find out where the best placement is for subs and how many subs would be the best, right? And I think the consensus was 4 subs is the best. Above that, you start hitting diminishing returns like crazy. And the placement for those 4 subs would be in the corners if you want the most room gain. But you'll still get an even response, assuming like a rectangular room, right? But if you wanted better seat-to-seat consistency, meaning every seat has even bass, then you'd put the subs mid-wall on each wall. Now, that's kind of weird because you'd probably have a TV, right? So you can't put a sub mid-wall there.
Front, yeah.
But that one has the best seat-to-seat consistency, but you sacrifice a little bit of extra room gain being mid-wall. So there's nothing wrong with corners, right? A lot of people recommend opposite corners, one in the front left, one in the rear right, and then on the you get what I'm saying. So there's nothing wrong with corner loading. Where else are you going to put it? You can put it some random place. I wouldn't put it 3 feet away from the wall. I wouldn't do that. You can put it behind your seat like I have it. So you're kind of limited. You're probably going to put a sub against some wall. Yeah,
you're gonna have to. Yeah. All right.
I see a lot of people putting it like 3/4 of the way or a third of the way on the wall. You have to make sure that that's actually a good place. Like in my room, if I put it like a third of the way into the wall, I'm putting it into a null now. My listening position, I'm getting a huge dip in the response.
Yeah. So what do you think, Aaron? You think corner loading subs is okay? Not okay?
I think it's okay. I don't know if there's a good spot for any subwoofer in any room, really.
It might be like an earlobe off.
Yeah, probably so.
In your measurements.
You're just trading off one thing for another. 50 hertz boost at one point, 30 hertz boost at another one, you're just trading stuff off.
Well.
But corners do seem to work pretty well. You get extra gain, so that helps.
There you go. Some of these other guys are saying that Boomy, Denon Marantz dynamic EQ can
yes. Correct. Ripe Wave. What's up, Ripe Wave? Yeah. The dynamic EQ basically is that the loudness one where as you turn it down, it keeps the bass level up.
I think
and then as you turn it up, it kind of basically like it's the inverse. You start with a flat signal at the highest output, and as you turn it down, that mid range starts to drop off. You get more bass.
Yeah. They have that on that HTP one that I'm reviewing. It's like a loudness button. And what's cool is like they give you 2 options. One is vintage. So I assume that's like the Fletcher Munson curve. And then one that's, what is it called? Hold on, I'll tell you right now. We'll get super nerdy here. The other one is called ISO 226 2003 is the other one. So that's probably the updated equal loudness contour curve.
Yeah.
So they're both kind of saying the same thing, meaning when you're listening at low volume, you're not able to hear the bass as well. But what I find is like I expect that. If I turn it down, I expect the bass to
also go down.
get lower. If the bass stays loud so I can hear, I'm like the tonality of the speakers has changed in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like from what I hear. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay, let's go move on. Ripe Wave. Marant's website is all messed up today. Trying to order a Cinema 30, but no chance.
Oh,
What's wrong with it?
Damn, what's going on?
It's like those Nike drops. Like,
oh Lord,
everybody's trying to
I see
add.
what he's talking about now.
What's up with it? Let's all go to it. Marant.
Everybody at one time.
What's wrong with this site?
Check it out. This is what it looks like.
Oh,
That's why
Type in Marant's. I don't know if their whole website's like that, but on the Cinema 30.
Explore.
I mean, this is what I see. Oh, you got to hit Explore.
I don't know what's going on over there.
Okay, so this is their page. But if you go to the Cinema 30,
I hit Explore.
oh, you're on it.
Nothing's happening here.
Yeah, that's what I see. Also, I think it's only available to Southern California residents, maybe.
Probably. That makes sense.
But I mean, it's not doing anything.
Yeah, no,
it's not doing jack.
What is supposed to happen if I hit Explore? Oh yeah, something's weird. Yeah.
Look at this one. Different one.
Yeah, it's not really moving.
No.
Okay.
Busted,
all right.
man.
Yeah.
Cinema 30 though, I called this in the after show chat. I didn't call the price though, but $4,500. Good God. For the Denon 6700. Oh, the Denon 6800H is what, 3,500, so 1,000 less.
Mm.
You know, so $1,000. You pay $1,000 more, you get a smaller LED screen. Porthole, which is lame.
Little porthole.
Little porthole. Little porthole. You get your little porthole. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a pretty nice looking receiver, but I don't think Marant's site was slow last weekend. Now it's just unusable. It did clearly we can't even get in there.
Hey, can I shill out some HTP one or what?
No.
No,
you did that last week.
I've been trying.
I did, but I did more stuff to it, and I'm almost done with my review.
Save it for the review, man. Nobody cares about HTP one.
Yeah.
That's old, man. That's old news.
It is old
news, man.
That's old. That. All right, now go ahead.
I got two things I really want to talk about, but I can't. So
too bad. We're hearing the HTP one first.
One of those things starts with an S and ends with a Y.
Sorry. You're apologizing.
It might be Samsung-y or not.
Sandy?
Sandy.
Sorry. Slippy, slappy.
Whoa, what are we talking about?
Sexy. No, dude, go ahead.
Oh, dude. And then the other one, I was calibrating here. I was calibrating in a friend's house.
What are you calibrating all over the place?
I'm doing all these. I'm doing remote on-site calibrations. That's great. I can't wait for you guys to see those videos though. But no, for real, I can't talk about that stuff for a couple of weeks, which is killing me inside. But yeah, it's been an awesome weekend. I did get that Hi-Fi Rose thing. That thing's pretty sexy. Maybe I'll sneak it.
Oh, that thing looks freaking nice in those videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It looks like, hey, they made those VU meters look like a Macintosh, huh?
Oh my God.
They kind of use the similar color and everything, right?
They call it green. Hot. Yeah, no, it's great. I even like the clock with the each number is in a tube, a vacuum tube. Oh, sexy.
How about those LP6 V2? What is it?
LP6 V2. Joe gave me LP6 V2. Now I get to bump it while I'm at home.
We made a song.
Oh.
The song goes on. Angela knows.
Yeah.
Angela knows.
Almost. The song lives on. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What's up with the LP6 V2s, bro? Because you kept sending me videos like, bro, and then lots of cussing. What the?
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't understand, man. How can they make these speakers sound so good for such little money?
Right.
Like I'm just blown away. I was even looking at some reviews online, and I was just like, "Who's this Aaron's Audio? Aaron's Audio crapper?"
That dude, all he does is just measure speakers. He doesn't even listen to
He
them.
measures poop too. He's like,
Yeah, he does. Sounds
no,
terrible.
So what do you think? Like, why were you impressed?
dude, I was sitting I was sitting in my hot seat here in the bed, and I had them on the top. So this was like far field, not even near field, right? Because they're just supposed to be studio monitors. The amount of bass coming out of these things was redonkulous. And I went straight from the Hi-Fi Rose to the speakers, so my AVR had nothing to do with it. But I do have that new calibration thing. I might calibrate just those two speakers. Just
Oh yeah.
No. Hey,
Oh,
can't talk about it, Joe. That's what I'm saying.
don't look at that.
Dude, it was like 2 a.m. I'm looking at it right now. That thing's awesome, bro. The thing's awesome. I'll tell you that much. Oh yeah, get it out of the shot. It's been in the shot the whole time. Oh man.
Yeah, hey, wanna be my lover? Yeah. Get stuck in my.
Well, we heard this new remix in the car. I guess it stayed with Joe, and then he's trying to get the LP6s out, into a box, and he's just like, "You got LP6 V2." Like, me and Angela are like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, I know what that is." And then, so I started taking up and singing melody about the stupid speaker.
Hey, that speaker's awesome though. It just goes to show, like, we do know what people like to hear.
Yeah,
they want to hear an accurate speaker. I mean, the chances of an accurate speaker sounding bad pretty low. You know what I mean? Like, nearly every review I've ever seen on that speaker, people are like, "Dude, sounds great." Like, yeah, I'm sure Charles Sprinkle over there's like, "Yeah, of course it does. We already know this."
Mm-hmm. We measure
not surprised.
with and without ears.
Yeah. I mean,
what a loser.
But yeah, I love them. And then, like, even in this area here, I never posted my video. They're in like weird situations. So when I ran that calibration, like, bass rise was huge on the left, and on the right it was like non-existent because of where they're placed here in the room here. And the amount of highs, but like highs were like rolled off, like 6K, 5K, something like that. And that's just like what, and I used that software and got everything flat, which sounded great. And then I did a little bass rise, and then the little emulation part in there is really cool. I can make it sound like an iPhone. I can make it sound like a 49-inch TV.
Which software? Oh,
the one we're not supposed to talk about.
Oh.
As I'm like chomping at the bit here, not to like.
You've tried it. I haven't even taken it out of the box.
I learned so much about my audio interface because of that, making that video, because you have to take the microphone, which is this guy, and have it separate from the audio output. Otherwise, you're going to get feedback in the loop.
Yeah.
So I had to like learn all this stuff at like midnight. Yeah.
So, Josh here asks, "Hey guys, are there any plans for Magic Beans with Dirac live video?" And you know what? I think I'm going to start doing more DSP videos just because that's what I'm interested in. I like doing DSP stuff, and I've watched some DSP stuff, the videos that are currently out there, and I'm like, I think I would want to add to this. I think I have an opinion, and I think I can do a pretty good job. So I expect to do a lot more of that sort of stuff. And that has to do with the HTTP1 review, because now I'm finally finishing that up. And there are only a few reviews of that that I've found on YouTube. And I watched them. Typically, I don't watch them, but I watch it because I'm done filming. I'm done saying and doing all the things that I was planning on doing. So I feel like, okay, I'm going to check them out. And I was like, man, a lot of these videos are barely scratching the surface of what this thing can do. Like, the purpose of this thing is it's like a huge toolkit for somebody who's going to go in there and go get crazy. So if you're not that person, it's probably not for you, right? If you want something basic, then Denon, Marantz, Yamaha, whatever, Sony, there's lots of other options for you. But this is more for the guy who's going to get in there and get their hands dirty. So I have been testing it out for over maybe about 2 weeks. And I just really want to do it justice because, there's a lot of engineering involved in making sure that this stuff works. And for me to just kind of gloss over it, like, yeah, it turns on. And yeah, it has a touch screen. Like, come on, dude. Like, are you going to put any effort into this? Yeah. So I feel like I have to, right? I have to test all the features. What is all? I read the whole manual, right? It's like 80 pages. I read it all to see all the features. And then there's an AVS forum thread, and dudes have made custom user interfaces that work with it that add a ton of functionality. Like, that's the point of this thing, is like people can add stuff to it, that wasn't part of the product when it was released. But the crazy thing is, so like this guy Pink Soda, he goes by Pink Soda, he made a custom user interface, right? That makes it easier to navigate the device. And they implemented it in a firmware update. So if you just type in the IP address, which you normally use, and hit /custom, it takes you to the custom user interface. Oh, wow. And then another guy made a custom firmware that you put on an SD card, right? Because it resolved some of the issues. Well, I guess they talked, and now it's in his fixes are in the latest firmware. Like, that's
wow,
that's
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's like a community thing.
Yeah.
So they encourage people to create and make the product better, and that is the point of this thing. You know what I mean? So you don't have to wait for somebody to make something. You can actually make something, and to a certain extent. So I want to do it justice is basically it. Now, I did the Magic Beans. I did Dirac time and phase alignment. So I did the whole Dirac calibration. At first, I wanted to try manual calibration, where I did timing, level, all manually. And yeah, tonality wise, it was good. But I gotta say, Dirac gets time and phase alignment. It can do better than what can be done manually. The time and phase alignment part, because it has to do like all pass filter type of stuff. So if you don't have that functionality, which the HTP one doesn't have an ability to do that directly, you kind of have to rely on something like Dirac to do it for you. But man, phase alignment is crazy. Time alignment, we have the test tones where it plays all the tones at the same time, and made it sound like as if it's just one speaker, even though I had 12, 13 speakers playing the sound at the same time. So yeah, the result of that Dirac calibration is the imaging of stuff is pinpoint, like where it's supposed to be. That's where it sounds like it is. Now, one thing that I think you'll appreciate, Aaron, is you always talk about upfront bass in the car.
Oh yeah.
Right. Now I have a sub right behind me. Right. And when it's not properly time and phase aligned, it sounds like the subs, when they kick in, it sounds big, right? Like I hear the speaker and then I hear bass coming. Yeah. After this, it was confusing because it just sounded like the bass was coming from the front speakers. I'm like, is that right? Is that right? Yeah. But it's actually, after you get used to it, because it takes a minute.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound as loud at first.
Right.
At first, it doesn't sound as loud, but then you're like, no, that sounds correct. It just sounds tight, right? And maybe that's what the previous question was about, but the bass just sounded very tight. And what is FOMO saying over here? But yeah, the bass sounded like it was coming from in front, even though I have subs kind of all around me. And that's pretty cool. And what it seems like is when all the drivers are all phase aligned, it's almost like it's louder without you having to turn it up louder. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I
Like
think
when all
so.
the speakers are phase aligned and content is playing through all of them,
Yeah.
it's like I can hear everything clearly and I don't have to turn it up as loud.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's
Yeah. I hear you. Everything is just like one solid. Like a kick drum is just like it's up here, it's in front, and it's just like instead of you hear it, but you don't really feel it at the same time, or you hear it from up here, but maybe you feel it a little bit more in the back, or maybe like midway between where you are and the speakers are, like something's just not quite right. But when it's all locked in phase and time, it's like, okay, wow, this is what it is supposed to sound like.
Yeah. You know what I would say is like, when you have perfect summation between, two speakers, that's when it's the loudest, right?
Yeah.
Like measurably, it's the loudest when they sum perfectly. And it just seems like that's exactly what's happening. Full range, though.
Yeah.
Everything is summing perfectly. And so you're getting the loudest possible response. And it doesn't have to be as loud out. Like, if I step outside of the room and I close the door, I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty low, even though it's at the volume I normally listen at. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully it does.
No, yeah, I hear you. I know what you're saying.
They do stuff with mixed, FIR and IIR filters. I don't want to go into that right now because I can get too crazy about that. But the other thing is that it has Dirac Live bass management, which is not the same as Dirac Live bass control. Basically, it takes over the bass management from the HTP one, where normally, you set 80 hertz or whatever your crossover point is. Instead, Dirac to determine the proper crossover points for each speaker to the sub, and it does it based on the measurements. And I think they're probably making sure that the phase alignment is good at those locations also. So you can choose to have it do the bass management part, which I thought is interesting because I don't see very much info on that. It might just be on this HTP one. I don't know. I remember that the DDRC88A, that mini DSP, did have, it was called Dirac Live bass management. Yeah. But it wasn't exactly the same. I had to manually do everything. It didn't really calculate that stuff for me. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say about it for right now. I'll leave the rest for the review, but I do want to do more DSP videos. And one interesting one that I'll tease right now is I did a Dirac calibration, and the guys in the Daily HiFi crew and the after show crew, they've already seen this stuff. I made a little comparison video and I showed the measurements, but I wanted to show what Dirac does to the near field response. I haven't seen really very many people do that. Do the calibration, then check the before and after of the near field response of the speaker. And it's very interesting. Let's just say that. Did you see that, Aaron, when I posted that or no? In the messenger chat?
I don't think so.
It's like a random, really late at night type.
There was one day where you guys were just like, I woke up the next morning and I just kept scrolling up, and then I was like, forget this. Something just broke.
Uh-oh.
So it's attached by
your ears.
Alligator clips. No, man, I know how to measure those ears.
Here's a question I have for you, Aaron.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I always I asked because I really don't know, right? I asked
3.5.
Yeah, about. So here's the thing. So like we always say, about target curves, like you can't use a target curve because we don't know the speed, blah blah blah. Right? We're not gonna go into that. We should call it something else.
What are you about to do, man?
No, don't make this a clip.
You're gonna get UK Spawn out here.
No,
you're gonna get him fired up.
No,
hi man.
Please don't make this a one of the daily clips.
UK
Tim.
Spawn.
No.
Joe wants to talk to you about target curves, so please make sure that you comment to this.
I don't.
Please.
I don't. So okay. let's just put it this way. If I do the Dirac calibration and then I measure near field, it makes the response really weird, right? Like I have an Arendelle speaker that measures good already, right?
Okay.
So it tries to make a correction based on the main listening position, right? And then if I remeasure near field, now the response is all like jagged and weird, right? Yeah. Because they don't do a near field measurement of the speaker. They don't really know. Is it possible that the whatever it did to that speaker, right? It made it measurably worse. A good speaker made it measure worse. If I were to look at the near field response, is it possible that that weird response just reacts to my room perfectly? You know?
I mean, anything is possible.
You know what I'm saying though? Like a bad speaker could possibly sound good in a certain room at a certain distance. It might be possible that it sounds okay. Is that
a bad speaker okay. Is the question, can a bad speaker sound good?
Can a bad speaker sound good in some weird situation where it perfectly like interacts with the room and it, you know, is that a thing?
It's less likely, right? But like, you know, as well as I do, people love bass. So if a speaker has really good bass, but the other stuff is maybe not so great compared to a speaker that the other stuff is really good, but the bass is not quite there, then people might still choose the one with more bass because that sounds more fun or more lively.
Yeah.
Or any number of reasons why. You can use a speaker that, and that's the other thing too, is like, how bad are we talking? Like, are we talking like abysmal?
I have to show you. I have to do this because here it is. So here,
the answer is always it depends, by the way.
Oh, I see. So here's how's my scaling?
Oh, it's terrible, dude. You're cheating.
Nice.
You gotta use 0 to 100 dB scaling.
Okay, so here's the near field in-room response of this what is this? The 1723 tower, right?
Okay.
And so that's when I applied magic beans. This is with no EQ applied at all, right?
Okay.
In that
no EQ.
location.
Okay.
This is after I applied magic beans in purple.
Okay.
And then if I run, let's say if I just compare it to no EQ, after I run Dirac, right? This is what it does to the response. That's when I remeasure it near field.
Oh, that's near field? Oh.
Yeah. Because I have maybe a dip in the response here, it's trying to fill it, so that's why you see this.
Yeah, okay.
So if you were to measure a speaker and it measured like that, what would you say? Like you'd like,
are you saying if I measured a speaker like that in room?
Yeah, like so look, here's no EQ. That's how it measures when it's placed in my left speaker. That's how it measures, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you see what's going on here. If you measured the speaker and then it was like that instead, I'll show them both. What'd you say? It's better, worse? What would you say about that?
So both of these are near field, right? They're not
near field measurement, yeah.
In the seated position. I mean,
for comparison, here's what happens after I use magic beans on it.
I would really want to see what's going on in the seated position. You know, like, so I get, based off of what you're telling us, the reason that Dirac has boosted that is probably there's a dip in the far field, like a floor bounce or maybe a ceiling bounce or something like that, you know, going on. Especially with it being a multi-speaker alignment, multi-driver alignment. Could be some other issues going on there too.
Yeah. But you know, the interesting thing is, so this is the most obvious thing, but this is kind of in the transition region, right?
Yeah.
But and then highs is where I would say like, you know, it makes it more spiky. So let me take this off.
Yeah.
There's more going on in the higher frequencies.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can judge it based on, because the measurement method, you know, like I don't really know.
Well, all I know is, you know.
You tell me which one sounds better to you.
Well, I'm biased, right?
Well, let's not talk about.
I'm already beans. Pretty biased.
Between those two in the seated position, which one did you think sounded better?
It's
Or do you recall?
I can't say because it applies like other things that make it sound better too.
Oh, okay.
So when you're talking about phase alignment, I can't
Yeah.
bypass phase and time alignment.
Right.
And so those things make it sound more impressive. But as far as tonality, I think that no direct tonally sounds better.
Okay. Interesting.
You know, and so one experiment that I did in that messenger chat was here, let me do it like this. One experiment I did was I just recorded my voice using a calibrated mic. And then I played it back, right? So I have my voice, and then I went back and forth playing the recording and listening, and then I recorded the playback from the speaker, right? Near field. So you can compare the direct recording with the playback. And this one sounded like it looks, right? It sounded like that. It sounded like what's happening here. It sounded like I was in a, I don't know, tin can or something like that.
What's near field? 1 meter?
1 meter, yeah. Yeah, I would say 1 meter. So anyway,
MLP for your test. MLP.
But why are we listening at MLP? Okay, these are good questions. And I would just say the problem with an MLP only response is the microphone is averaging the direct sound and the reflected sounds. Whereas I can distinguish between the direct sound and the reflected sounds. Right? My ears can distinguish between the two. And so I can tell, what the direct sound is. And if it looks weird, the combined response of the two might look smooth, which it does, right? It looks nice and smooth. But the mic, it looks good. The measurement looks good on the mic, but that's not what I hear, right? I hear two sounds. I hear direct and then reflected. And so that's kind of the issue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Am I making sense or am I making stuff up?
No.
Maybe a little bit of both.
No, it makes sense to me. It's hard to look at an RTA and separate. All right, like this is the reflection. This is the main,
the direct
sound, in a room.
Yeah,
that's how we have anechoic measurements, is to separate the speaker from the room. But when you do in room measurements, even near field, you still get some room bias effects in there. So, but that's why I was saying, like, I would not only would I want to see the results, but I'm really, when it comes to looking at a in-room measurement, it's still hard to say for sure how it's going to sound, right? You can certainly get an idea, but you really need to be in there to listen, because to me, there's more than just the tonality, right? There's like the sense of space and things like that, that the room helps contribute to the speakers, or vice versa. So, and that's the tough thing. Like with car audio, we used to try to gate measurements. And then when I realized like what gating does, like, so you have to gate the measurement, so you have to get the first reflection out. And I was like, dude, the first reflection is this far away. I'm going to be gating at 18 kilohertz, right? At some point, you're in such a small room where everything is so close to the speaker that it doesn't even matter. And then on the other end, you can be listening out in a field with no reflections except for the ground. So, and that shop I mentioned in the video, I showed you guys those Focal Sopra speakers and the Kef. So the Sopras were in that smaller room, long, narrow room.
Yeah.
And the Kef were in just that wide open space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they sounded completely different. Now I like the Kef, but what you're hearing is pretty much the direct sound, and there's no bass reinforcement. So when I listened to the Focal, there was tons of bass reinforcement.
They were in the corners.
And I liked it. So I even said in the video, like, based on the two setups that I heard, I actually like the Focal more, but that's not fair to either one of them because they're in two totally different rooms, and the Kef doesn't get any bass reinforcement and the Focal gets tons of it. Yeah. So you got to be careful too, like when you go and demo speakers at places,
So can I show we were talking about like near field response of speakers, right?
Yeah.
And in room near field response, the monitor, the 1723 Arendo monitors, they have a similar response to the towers, right? The towers hit deeper, but like I compared it to an ASR, the Audio Science Review's clipple measurement of that speaker.
Yeah.
Just because he provides a download, which what's up? That's the only reason I didn't use one from Aaron's Audio Corner because there's no
he
download.
provides it. Who cares if he provides it? He has to because he marks them all up.
Well, it's easier for me to
read them half the time. He's got red running all over this. I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
Because it makes it easier for me to put in the REW though, so I can do a comparison.
Yeah.
So I compared it with my near field in-room response. So the ASR one is in green.
Yeah.
And the other one is my in-room response, which I think is a reasonable place to start a calibration.
Yeah, that's reasonable for sure.
Yeah,
it shows the same kind of trends.
The higher frequencies, this is because I have a bad mic calibration.
I was gonna say around 8K is normally where that calibration really starts to matter too for those U mics.
Yeah, well, mine has been dropped so many times. It's way out of calibration, and actually using a different calibration from my old mic is a better one than the one that it came. It's all messed up. So I luckily have like 4 different calibration mics, so I can test things. But overall, I think that this is a decent place to start a calibration compared to what the others are doing. So
yeah.
This is an in-room measurement, which is not perfect, but I'm not making a speaker. I'm just trying to correct, obvious issues.
Yeah.
Dropping mics like babies. When you measure speakers nearly every day, things gonna drop. You're gonna kick that long wire. Reverend Slim knows what happens when you have that long wire. Somebody's gonna trip over it.
Mm-hmm. I had that problem too. It's not a wire, but
he knows from experience. I was on the phone when it happened. He knows. So anyway,
thank you.
That's it.
I broke my Omni mic years ago because that one's like where the mic, I guess, meets the body of the. I don't know how to explain this. Anyway, it's super skinny toward the end. I was trying to avoid saying that, and it's fatter at the bottom. I really was trying to avoid saying that. But that thing like breaks so easily. So I went through a couple of those.
Yeah, watch out for that tip, dude.
Yeah.
Weak tip over there.
Breaks easy.
Over Woodfrey says Prime Video cuts Dolby Vision and Atmos support from ad tier and didn't tell subs.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah, that's when did this happen?
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this is we're back to the whole, physical versus streaming debate. What is good? What's good? Which one would you rather have? Do you guys ever watch anything on Prime Video?
I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I mean, other than that, what else are you watching?
I've seen it. Hey, now that's actually a pretty decent show.
I know. I'm
really not. I've seen like 3 episodes. It's pretty good. I should pick that back up again. The Reacher series is on there.
Reacher, okay.
Yeah. What was that movie I just talked about? Chris Pratt the other day, or with y'all a couple weeks ago or a week ago.
Jurassic Park.
No, dang it! It's the Tomorrow War thing.
Tomorrow War, yeah.
That
was good. That was a good one.
That was all right.
I noticed I don't use a whole lot of Prime Video. You guys in the chat, what do you guys use mostly? The Brother's Son on Netflix. I've been wanting to talk about this show for like weeks. I can only get in like half an hour at a time just because I got so much other stuff to do. Sometimes I'm so tired, I put it on and I'm like, I can't concentrate. But it's Michelle Yeoh and it's about these triads. And
it's got Justin Chin, Higdee Kwan. It's got Sam Lee, Alice Hukin, I think, is in that as well. Madison Hugh.
You've never heard of this show before, have you?
Let me click this over. Oh, it's got John Zhu Zhang on there. Jenny Yang is on there as well. Yeah. I've heard of that show.
Oh, great. It's great. You should watch it. Check it out.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys in the chat, let me know. What do you guys? Apple TV, Disney, Hulu, Prime Video is the only one I have. Then physical media. Okay. Wow.
I do Netflix.
Yeah.
I always say Netflix for me is the more. I used to have Hulu, but I canceled that. I had Paramount Plus, but I canceled that. HBO, but man, HBO's movies selection is, I think, it's really terrible.
Bad. Yeah, well, isn't it HBO Max? Isn't it now Max? So it's Cinemax and HBO.
Yeah. I mean, they used to have, but it's rare that they have something new that comes on there that I'm like, oh, I really want to watch that. Anything that I've watched is mostly older stuff.
I see that.
I subscribe to Plex.
Who is that? She sounds cute.
Hey, I have to go back to these real quick. So Juan is saying, show all three measurements at the main listening position. And then Andrew says, but we are not listening near field. You need MLP results for your test. Okay. I get that. That's how every single room correction works. Like you place the mic in the listening position and it tries to make it follow some nice, smooth target curve. But that's what I'm kind of arguing with Magic Beans. Now, we may disagree on this, Aaron, but I'm curious. Would you rather have assuming you had to only take in-room measurements, right? No clipple, right? And you have to judge.
I'm out.
You have to judge based on whether the MLP measurement was smooth in a room, right? Not in the car, because I know cars different.
Okay.
MLP response in a room versus one where the near field response is ideal and smooth. So if the near field response is nice and smooth, right? The main listening position one may look a little bit weird, may not be what you expect, right? Or one where the main listening position one looks ideal, but then the near field measurement is all wonky and not smooth. Which one do you think is going to give you?
All right, so let's establish that when you say near field, you're basically talking about a quasi-anechoic measurement method, right? Okay.
I would say yes.
So basically what you're leaving me with is, would I prefer to have the results dictated by the measurement done at the main listening position, results being EQ, or would I rather have the results dictated by measurements done in a quasi-anechoic method, assuming that the speaker takes well to EQ in both situations? I would much rather have an anechoic measurement, period, because I can correct the speaker before I put it in the room, and then the room is going to do its thing, and then hopefully I can go through and treat the bass, somehow with equalization or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would prefer. And I think most people who understand the difference in speakers versus a room are going to say, yeah, I would rather have a well-designed speaker. And if it's not designed well out the box, can I EQ it? Like, is a crossover transition pretty good to where it's not problematic? And then can I equalize the sound to work well for me? Either flat on axis or gently sloped or whatever, depending on the design, because those things matter. Yeah, I'll take anechoic measurement because, dude, when you're in and you know this, when you
are talking about pseudo anechoic, are you still saying? Because I know, of course.
Well, I mean, so that your method is pseudo anechoic, right? I mean, I'll just call it pseudo anechoic because that's probably what it's closer to, right?
Well, you said anechoic, so I want to make sure it's clear that you're saying pseudo and not like.
Yeah. Well, when I say anechoic, I'm talking like in an ideal world, you have anechoic measurement for your speaker, and then you say, all right, the treble is too much. I'm going to tame it down. These things are kind of messed up. I'm going to fix these resonances, and then I'm going to put it in the room. And then you can measure from the seated position and let it do the bass management and stuff like that. Not bass management, but resonance from the room control. Try to get those things fixed. That's what I would go for.
Okay. I guess the only thing is, if you have it behind an acoustic transparent screen, that's going to affect the high frequencies, and an anechoic measurement is not as relevant in that situation because
you listen, or you measure again in the room. Oh yeah, I know. I said you listen. Yeah, I mean, you got to listen to this, dude. I don't care what the measurements look like. I still want to hear the speaker.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So my example would be these Cali audio speakers that do measure well, right? Chana likes them. I like them. You like them. The Cali Audio LP6, they measure well anechoically, right? On your clipple, I would say they measure pretty well. In my in-room responses, they measure near field pretty well. Now, if you place these into the room and you measure at the main listening position of these good speakers, do you think that's going to be smooth? Maybe not. That response may look pretty funky, right?
Behind the screen?
Behind it, and then put it behind the screen. Now, but let's just say forget the screen. You just put it in your room and then measure at your main listening position.
Oh, yeah.
that might look weird, right?
Yeah.
So you take something like Dirac or Odyssey, and it's gonna say, "No, we got to fix that. We got to fix that. We got to fix that speaker," and it'll try to do it based on the main listening position measurement. Now you go measure that speaker again, right? If I were to keep that EQ and then put it on the clipple, that speaker is gonna have some weird non-linear response, right?
For sure.
So is that good? Is that going to be better? I think it's making the sound of the speaker worse.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're correcting.
I know.
Yeah, it depends on what you're correcting for. You know.
Yeah. So I think that's the main downfall. My opinion. You know, and I don't mind arguing with somebody else about this, but my main thing is that the fact that they're only measuring at the main listening position is why some people don't like the sound. Sometimes you say like, man, this sounds weird. Something sounds off. I don't know what it is. You know, the measurement looks great. So I don't understand why I don't like it. I think it's because you've made the response of those speakers worse. Yeah. So you've sacrificed one thing for the other. You've sacrificed the direct sound for a better steady state response that includes the direct and reflected sounds, but your ears don't hear exactly that way. You hear direct and then reflected, right? So you hear both sounds. The mic only hears the summed. I wouldn't say summed. It already hears the effects after the room has done its thing. It tries to separate out the two, but it can't completely.
Yeah, you're not doing that. Well, most people aren't doing that with an RTA. They're not separating out direct sound, reflected sound, and things like that.
No, I mean, how are they going to?
Dirac is, right? Dirac is,
but I'm just saying, like, when people are using like REW and trying to figure these things out.
Yeah, Dirac is trying to, right? I wouldn't say that you can get a near field measurement. Otherwise, I don't think that they would have done some of the EQ that they did. You know, they probably would have kept the higher frequencies untouched. Anyway, it's an interesting discussion. And we'll have to see when Magic Beans does come out super soon. We're working on the website right now so that you can purchase it, right? So it has to have a working website. And so that's what we're working on. The app is pretty much done. Like, I don't expect very many changes on the app at all. Just getting it on the website so people can purchase it. And we'll see if I'm correct, right? Because I'm arguing for the fact that near field being a better response and sacrificing, you know, if that's what you want to call it, and a more ideal MLP response, main listening position response, I think that most people will prefer that. I think that's a better correction. But we'll see. We'll see if I'm wrong.
You'll see. The proof will be in the pudding.
Proof is in the pudding. I don't know.
Okay. What else? We're at hour 33, but what else?
Aaron, what's the flattest speaker you have measured so far?
There's a few that are pretty flat. Like, okay. So first, oh gosh, let's say, yeah. I mean, like, I want to make sure that it's understood that a great sounding speaker doesn't necessarily measure perfectly flat on axis. If it has wide directivity or a flat constant directivity, I should say, then you probably don't want it to be flat on axis because then it's going to sound bright in room. But just to answer your direct question, speakers that have flat on axis sound, the ones I can think of off the top, this is recent. March Audio Tuva is really flat on axis sound. Dutch and Dutch 8C is really flat. Key Audio 3 is really flat. DSP ones, most of them are really flat.
How about the that Buchart one? Was that good?
I think those are probably pretty flat too. At least the DSP ones. The passive ones might also be pretty flat as well. But the Dutch and the Keys, I think, are like probably the most flat on axis speakers that I've measured so far. I mean, they're within like plus or minus 1 dB kind of thing.
How about a Genelec?
Maybe. I think maybe Genelec as well. Yeah, I would have to double check, but passive speaker wise, that March Audio Tuva is and I've got their newer version coming up for review soon. So that one's, I've already seen the measurements for that. That thing's ridiculously flat on axis and great estimated in-room response. It's an awesome speaker.
How about this? which one would you say? Pretty much those ones that you mentioned have also the best combination of on-axis and directivity,
Um,
or is it like, oh, they have great on-axis flat, but directivity is
well, yeah.
Maybe.
So directivity is kind of a pain because vertical factors into that as well. So when you've got like a two-way and you've got a tweeter and a midwoofer, the
Okay.
horizontal directivity may be perfect, but that step from the tweeter to the mid-range below it, usually there's going to be a dip in the directivity.
Okay, let me just say horizontal then, because that would give them
So
advantage probably
Dutch
to
and Dutch
the
8C
concentric
is
type of stuff.
that Dutch and Dutch 8C is probably flat directivity, maybe, and the key is probably something similar to that as well. I mean, they're fantastic speakers for sure. And then the
All
same
right.
thing about the March Audio. Honestly, it's not hard to have a flat horizontal, not flat, but linear, I guess, horizontal directivity. But vertical is the one that really messes with the directivity scale.
But doesn't that give an advantage to those concentric type of speakers,
Absolutely.
though?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, stuff like Kef, their directivity is
Interesting
really
stuff,
good.
man. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of concentric.
Yeah, I am too, man. Those MoFi 8s, I think I'm going to buy them if I can, as soon as I can send the money over.
He's made up his mind.
Either those or the Kef Blade 2s.
Are you sure?
That's a big jump.
That's a huge jump. Yeah. I'm looking at it like, oh, I really shouldn't do this, but I really want to.
Stefan, thank you for the super chat. He says Neural X or DSU for movies, no Oro. I would say maybe the Dolby Surround Up Mixer if you have one of the newer AVRs with, I don't know how many ear level speakers, but I think the newer versions of Dolby Surround Up Mixer has an ability to use the wides, like it'll up mix so they can put stuff into the wide channels. But that's on the newer one. The HTP one actually has an older version, and so it doesn't do that. That's why they have that wide synth feature. So I don't know how many ear level speakers, but out of the two, some people like Neural X, some people like Dolby Surround Up Mixer, and I like Oro. I know from my testing that they do things differently. So how it up mixes and how it decides what to put into certain channels, specifically the heights, is different. They work differently for each one. I don't recall exactly which one does what, but I remember that it's usually out of phase information that it puts up there, and like certain things over a certain frequency that it figures is probably ambient sounds that it can put into the heights. It tries to avoid vocals, right? Both of them do. But one is more time-based, where like if something happens and it holds that note, after a certain period of time, it'll take it out of that height speaker, right? So, but if it's an instant, like a quick transient, then it'll throw it up into those channels. I forget, you'd have to watch my video where that's called like why I use Oro 3D. And I actually did test tones and I figured out how they're kind of doing it. I don't remember which one is which, but I do remember that the Neural X one tended to have more artifacts, like weird stuff happening in the heights, like where you hear like some weird stuff happening. So check out that video when you get a chance. I'll link to it.
There you go.
What else?
Link to it. Chana, have you heard the Mackie C200? I brought it up on screen. Let's just look at it real quick. This looks like a PA speaker, 10-inch, 200-watt passive, 349. I mean, I actually have not heard this, so I don't know. I don't know if it's a PA speaker. I'd probably go powered. That way, it's all in one situation. But yeah, there we go. What are your thoughts about the Q series of Kef, and what if I combine with the double pair of Dolby Atmos enabled of Sony, assuming the roof 2.4 meters high? What is 2.4?
Have you tried series are good? I don't know anything about the doubling up with the Sony speakers though.
Are the Q series the less expensive ones?
Yeah, they're the lower line. Yeah, they're more budget friendly ones, but they're good. They're not as good as the R series or the reference series, obviously, but they're good speakers. I think they're a good value.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Which one did what?
Oh, I accidentally hit Control R.
Which one did you put? Which speaker did you take out of a KEF speaker and put into your car?
That was
What
the
was that?
older R500, R300.
Okay, so higher.
Yeah, the
model.
higher one. Yeah, because it's got those have a dedicated mid range,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and the shape, the cone is better. The waveguide or not the waveguide, the surround is not as tall, so it's a better waveguide transition.
Oh, okay.
So it's more of a purpose built 3-way design.
Okay.
Where the Q series are, they've all got that. Do they call it Z Flex surround, where it's kind of like a rigid surround, and it's mostly all
Mhm.
2-way coaxial.
They all look the same to me.
They have 3-way coaxial as well.
The Q950, they had
Yeah, the big tower ones.
$1,100. They had a full 714 setup where all of those were the ear level speakers.
Wow,
That was pretty awesome.
I bet that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
No, it
It's
sounded
legit.
pretty cool. All right, question: how hot is too hot for an AVR? I mean,
Oh,
I guess you were you watching Usher's performance on through your receiver, and all of a sudden,
Too hot.
it just blew up 105
you know,
Fahrenheit toward the front of the AVR. Wow.
are you running external amps? Is the question, because I find that they do get hotter if you're running off the internal amps. I don't know what the exact temperature is, but if it's turning off, that's probably not good.
Yeah.
Probably need some better cooling around that thing. Make sure you have a lot of cooling around it. Below it.
That air motive. No, that's Emotiva.
Oh yeah.
The air, the little fan things.
Have you seen that I think it was the 4700H or maybe the 6700H. Also, they have like little fans on the bottom. I didn't realize that.
I run 8 surrounds and heights off the AVR, LCR off Emotiva. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do get hot, man. These things, they can get hot.
Yeah, they can. I didn't notice it until I was in this space because all the speakers are being powered by the AVR now.
And how hot is it getting?
It's getting noticeably hotter. There's still like open air on my rack on all sides except the top and bottom. So out of the 8 surfaces,
I'm gonna get this 6700H because it's out. 1 second, I'll be back.
3, 4, 5.
Whoops.
6. Out of the 6 surfaces, only 2 are covered. Yeah, I heard they were getting hot, and so I didn't know about it until now. And then these speakers are like 4-ohm speakers, so I run a simple fan, and mine it keeps it down nicely. Oh, look at that! The 280 millimeter fans on the bottom, like 4700H, I guess. Nice, my 6700 does too. It should. I mean. Airfinity, that's what it is. Airfinity, the like T8 or T9 or something. Yeah, you should definitely buy one.
Heavy.
Oh, here it comes.
Oh, the 6700H is pretty heavy.
Yeah, it is.
All right, can you solo me?
Soloing.
Have you ever noticed this? Look on the bottom of these things. There's a fan.
Man, yeah. There's 3 of them.
Looks like.
I've never heard them spin up.
JR says my 47
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
has 2 80 millimeter fans.
They
That's
must
cool.
be on like really low because there it is. And then obviously people know to not cover the top.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to know that you should probably also make sure that there's airflow below this. Damn, it's heavy. Ugh. Yeah. So
Possibly entirely. Need to flip the AVR over and hit it with some canned air. Maybe.
yeah, I don't know that the old ones had those fans though. Like
I don't know.
I only saw it like after the 4700H. If you're down to take a look at the bottom of your 4500, see if it has fans down there.
Yeah.
Interesting though, right? I've never heard those fans spin up.
The multi-fan S5. Cheap, simple, it keeps it cool. What is that? Multi-fan S5.
Multi-fan.
Multi-fan. All right. Question: how do you know when a sub is broken? I have SVS PB3000 that doesn't seem to be performing like it used to. Oh, is this a breakup letter? Or is this
In what ways does it not sound good? Because one thing to really be careful of is digital clipping on your AVR. Make sure that you're at like -6 dB for the gain for your sub, because it's possible that you could play content on your AVR, like just something with like super loud LFE, and it could possibly clip the channel before it's even getting to your sub.
Clipple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it.
Make sure that that's set up correctly.
It hasn't been performing like it used to. Huh. That's odd.
I don't know.
You're probably just getting older, man.
Why would
The sub is getting older. The subwoofer's getting older.
It ain't like it used to be.
Someone said Disney Plus IMAX Enhanced has DTSX on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I just read the article. So it's also from January 17th, 27th. So this is old already. Oldish, 21st. It's a couple weeks old. So apparently Guardians of the Galaxy 3 supposedly has IMAX DTSX. Something like that. It's down here. Here it is. Yeah. So check it out on the Disney Plus app. I'll check it out tonight, maybe. I don't know. Just to try it. Possible the SVS app has room game compression on. Yeah, maybe check that out. The 6500H has 3 fans at the bottom. Oh, looks like 4300, 4400, 4500.
Okay, they all okay. What else? What other questions we have? So we can take
we did that one. Joe, will all platforms have the exact same features on the Magic Beans?
exactly the same. They're gonna all have the same set of features.
All platforms meaning Apple, or sorry, Android, Apple, PC.
No difference. No difference.
What about Linux?
Linux, you're gonna have to wait for us to come out with like a web app.
He's got you there.
Gotcha, bitch. Question 2: any tips for helping all on-wall speakers that can't be mounted directly to the wall? Mine are 6.5 inches in front of the wall. I have velvet curtains on the wall. Helping all on-wall speakers.
That can't be mounted directly to the wall.
What about speaker on a stick?
Hey, yeah. Use my idea.
Yeah.
Speaker on a stick. That might work.
Yeah, it depends on how high they are too, right?
Yeah, depends
Because
on
if
how
they're low,
high.
you can just use these things that have been speaker on a stick. They've had them for a while. They're called speaker stands.
There's that too.
If they're low enough.
They've had them for a while.
Yeah, they've had them. They're actually,
You got to fill them with kitty litter though
I
first.
picked up some new stands for these Cali LP6s. I'm looking at them. They're pretty nice.
Oh, you got some stands? Yeah, you're committed. You like those.
Yeah, because like what do you call it? And then I measured. I sat down. I put one of the Calis on my table here, and I sat in the chair and I measured to see where my ear level was with the tweeter. So now I got them all lined up.
Oh, nice. How many ears?
6.
6 ear height?
Yes.
Nice.
Very, very tall speaker.
All right. What else? What other questions we got?
I don't know.
I'm taking off. I'm gonna eat this food that I've been nice enough to not eat in front of everybody. But
What is it?
I got some egg and rice and broccoli and sausage and
Hey, that sounds good.
yeah. So what else? Anything else?
Nothing else, man.
All right.
Nobody's got nothing.
Let's get going. Why don't you do our little outros?
Outro.
Please.
Be my lover.
All right. Daily HiFi Crew.
Take your time, baby. You got to be sure.
Make sure you sign up at crew.dailyhifi.com. I can't even.
All right, go.
Oh God.
You know what that sounds like? Every time I try to do it, I keep thinking the Transformers intro. No, that's X-Men.
Yeah. All right.
You remember the cartoon X-Men?
Yes.
And they're all running, and then Gambit throws his cards like, life don't get much better than this.
Shop.dailyhifi.com. And if you like to listen to the, not to Aaron, but if you like to listen to the audio only version, go to anchor.fm/dailyhifi. And of course, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. If you are in the after show part of the crew, we'll see you there. And if not, we'll see you next week.